started. You guys ready? And forgive me, I'm having to like click next, but backwards. So, you know, just don't look too much there. All right. Right. So I think for it to make the most sense, we need to kind of take a step and look at, you know, why are we talking about admin and some of these things today. So there's just some stats that we wanted to share. Obviously with the staffing shortages, still up 60% from according to NIH. 41, so we talked about over 56% of folks in that particular role are looking for a job next year. So turnover is still a major thing we have to overcome. And with the increase of AI, which is about 40% over last year, it's starting to plateau. So that's, you know, suggests that we've got to figure out ways to kind of get to a point where, all right, how are we using this within our practice? So we took that to essentially get us here today. So let me interview. Who are you? So I'll let them introduce yourselves, but our panel here, we'll start with Tracey first. And introduce yourself.
Okay, yep. I'm Tracey Schmidbauer. Retired from OrthoNY. I was a director of patient care coordination. I was with them for 32 years and did a lot from billing right to front end, everything but x-rays, to be honest with you. So I have a lot of experience in orthopedics.
Danielle Schults, Director of IT, also at OrthoNY. I've been there for 27 years. My background's a little bit different than most. I started when I was 16 years old in files. I have done every position literally in there, minus a couple licensed ones, and landed in IT about 15 and a half years ago.
Nichole?
I'm the practice administrator for Orthopaedics East in Greenville, North Carolina. I've been there about 4 years. I also teach at our local university, practice management courses for doctors and dentists, and kind of the staffing and inventory side of it, because we don't know doctors and dentists know that part really well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us. Let's just go ahead and start jumping into the conversation. We're going to start with the first topic here, which is basically the state of practice operations. And I've got the first question for you, Ms. Tracey. Ready?
Ready.
Ready for this?
Ready for
All right. So when you look back at your workflows that have evolved at OrthoNY, what drove decisions to outsource certain admin tasks?
Well, I think it was just the growth of the practice. We started with 4 doctors and just grew every year, just trying to keep it staffed. It started really with our transcription service with DataMatrix. So we just had to find a solution. Staff obviously would not like the word outsourcing because we were very technical. So we kind of changed that to co-sourcing, which meant that they're just really helping you out. So just trying to find the staff is so difficult, and knowing that we could have an outside service help us just took a lot of pressure off of us. And you know, the word co-sourcing really put them at ease that you weren't replacing them, you were just helping them.
Right. And can anyone here, because we're pretty hard, so we are going to probably do this because of the cleaning and the banging, but that's not your fault. Please eat up.
Hello, check one.
All right. So, but it's yours. Just pass it along. You are. Nichole is next. And Nichole, a very similar question. But when you see opportunities or like efficiencies and things that you're wanting to do, you know, how do you determine whether you're going to approach it from hiring and more in-house, or if you're going to augment it with like a third-party, like co-sourcing company, or if you're just like going to dive into AI or automation?
Yeah, so we have a little bit of everything. We use AI, we have staff augmentation, which I think we call co-sourcing, and we outsource. And it kind of starts from the team and how big our team is. So we have 9 positions, 8 PAs, we have PT and MRI in-house. So we're large for a small practice, but we're still a small practice. So one of the things we look at is if the team has a lot of turnover and it's hard to hire, I'm outsourcing that. because the cost of that turnover and the cost of keep trying to get it, so the first thing we completely outsourced was prior op. Because I couldn't keep the prior op team to save my life, and they hated their jobs, they hated their life, you couldn't pay them enough to enjoy it, so I put that burden on somebody else. Then I think of staff augmentation, which we do with scribes. Not all docs like it the same way, and to have two MAs in a hallway, sometimes those relationships get tricky. And so to have a virtual scribe, so that's how we partner with DataMatrix. It's another person, but they're not competing for the doc's attention, which is nice. And then considering increasing our staff in-house or partnership, it's kind of if there's a lot of patient interaction. So, you know, how do we make the communication with the patient where we added a few more medical assistants for that flow, because they don't want to talk to a robot or a computer. So it's kind of the dynamic of the whole practice of how you decide where to go.
Right. And then so Danielle, from the IT side, what's the biggest challenge or the most challenging aspect of like introducing either new tech or an outsourced partner in the practice?
So for me, the biggest thing that I always look at is securities, right? Whether it be co-sourcing, outsourcing, bringing in technologies, you know, we have a lot of compliance, a lot of risk, and you want to make sure that your technology is standardized and working, right? You don't want to have a messy platform. It's really up to the administrative operational staff to kind of bring the problem, and for myself and my team to find the solution. And the biggest challenge that we have is navigating that, right? You can't put all your chips into AI thinking that AI is ChatGPT. It's not. AI is a tool. It is supposed to help automate. It's supposed to do all those things, and it does if you do it correctly, but it's not your end-all be-all. You still need that human in the loop. And again, depending on which avenue you're going, and just making sure everybody's comfortable, confident, and that you can transition easily if you need to, you know, turn left and then turn right. Gonna do a little. That's why I'm very happy with DataMatrix. They're always very willing to work with us and not against us, and try different things. And just because we've done something for 16 years with them doesn't mean they're not going to say, okay, let's do this again. Bringing in automation, where can we supplement that?
Right. And so, you know, I'm just going to come back to you, Danielle. So I'm going to come back down the line. So let's really want to kind of hit a little bit of an AI reality check. So obviously it's the buzzword, and everyone on this panel is not anti-AI. It's more of where does it fit our practice the best. So kind of within that, we want to break down some of like the promise, you know, separate the promises from like the actual practice. So Danielle, where have you actually seen AI and automation tools generally save time from your perspective?
Sure. So a perfect example is we are a modernizing medicine client, and we recently started doing AI vaccine. We also just introduced Clara. So although both those tools have been really great and wholeheartedly, it is saving time. We're reducing phone calls. It's not doing it all. So for example, the vaccine, it's categorizing, it's linking the patient with the physician or even the date when it can, but I still need somebody to go in and kind of double check that and, you know, create the task and do things. And I don't know if anybody was at the opening segment this morning and you heard the statistics of what it took ModMed or AI Scribe and the data. That's wonderful, but to get the customization that we all want, you need to continue that within your own URL or environment. So, such as with Clara, again, you have to teach it. The basics are there, but you have to teach it. And while it's learning and hopefully, you know, evolves into what you need, you still have to have that interaction. So that's two of my examples to kind of tie it together for everybody.
Yeah.
AI is artificial intelligence, but a lot of people are construe it as ChatGPT.
Right. So Tracey, where have you seen this actually get off the rails? Where has AI actually created more work for the staff?
Well, I think for the insurance company side, for authorizations, you know, we used to call and we get the authorization, we talk to somebody, they talk us through it. Now, they're scrubbing it with an AI, and, you know, we have higher denial rate now, trying to get those authorizations. So it's more work on the back end to get that approval.
Right. And then so Nichole, if someone says to you, a vendor, whoever, says that, you know, this automation, this AI tool can replace your admin team, what's your response?
We've done a lot of AI, so,
Right.
in different pieces, and I always kind of hold and I say, well, how long is the build? Because if you're gonna give me somebody else's AI build, sure, you'll save time, but it ain't gonna work. And so I know that there's a lot of hand holding for the build. We're currently going through the implementation of AI phones, and it is daily calls and reviews and listening, and so I know eventually it'll get right, but it does take a lot of work to get there. And it will never 100% replace it, because I don't think I'll ever get past 50% of my patients saying, let me just talk to Sally, you know? And so I'm going to need that, same with like the faxing, the reviews, and, you know, even I'm a big fan of the AI implementation and support, but, you know, to be honest, AI inside the clinical visit scares me. Because I have some docs that I don't know if they'll review and unclick. Like right now, they're not even paying attention when pulling their previous visit, and I've got duplicate x-ray orders and different things that have come through, so maybe that's not the right one for them. You know, the few docs that are using the scribe, I don't have all of them on it, but that person reminds them like, hey, which leg is this? You know, because I'm Orthopaedics. But I have some docs that refuse to take their iPad in the room, so AI's not gonna work for that doc. They have to participate in it and review it. So I don't think AI will ever solve it completely.
Yeah.
I think if a vendor comes through and says AI is going to help you, then I'm more in tune to listen versus AI is gonna take it over.
Right. I think Danielle.
Additionally, just, I'm very strong on,
Sorry.
basically, you know, on the regulatory, think of compliance as well. So eventually, everybody will catch up, and each stage is gonna be a little bit different, but you're also all gonna have to prove that you're using AI as a tool and not a decision maker, right? So I don't know if you noticed in the ModMed example of AI scribe, you still have to accept and acknowledge, just to kind of take you back, you're always gonna need that human.
More accurately kind of link it to where it is. Prior auth, I'm excited about that, but there's still a lot of research and denial and verifying that we didn't give it that information, and I don't know if AI will ever solve that. So the tool is cool, but I don't know if I'll ever bring that back in. I probably will use my vendor partner and be like, hey, you guys should start using your own AI thing to figure this out. I don't know if I ever want that back. And I do know when I was pitched ModMed, they were like, we have some practices that don't have anyone in their lobby, that you can do everything from the iPad. I don't know if I'll ever go to that. It just doesn't feel right, and we say it's an age thing, but I mean, I got 20-year-olds that are like, I don't know how to fill this out, you know, so I think it's just people in general kind of need a face to say hello to. It's probably why Walmart is so successful with the Walmart greeter, right? They're not good at anything else, but you get said hello to, right? Like they figure that out. I think that human touch, so it's going to help, but I do think there's always a people person that we have to figure out through to make those decisions and fix it as it changes.
Right. And not to feel too one-sided, but Tracey and I have always had these really good conversations about, you know, when it comes to co-sourcing specifically, there's this misconception from the staff that my job is in danger. And the same can be said for AI, right? I think that's, oh gosh, you know, so much work in the front desk, we're implementing all these tools, what are we gonna do about my job? Actually, you had some good points about this. That's your next question is, how did co-sourcing actually impact, you know, patient and actually staff morale?
Well, I think once they realized that they weren't going to lose their job, they kind of embraced working with the team outside to have their workflow better. So they were happier at what they were doing versus being so miserable at, I gotta get this done. The same way with AI, with the faxing. I mean, you know, it is very tedious and it's a lot of work. And they were thrilled when they were able to not have to do that, you know, all at once. It's a high volume, especially in orthopedics.
Right. So Danielle, from the IT side, again, you kind of mentioned this a moment ago, but what, again, thinking checklist for those out in the audience here, what protocols should be in place to make this hybrid approach work?
Yeah, definitely, again, you're gonna hear my broken record speech of security. You know, it is okay to be onshore, offshore, you just have to make sure that your securities are in place, in the right place. You wanna make sure that, you know, you have a full understanding and an audit trail of what your partner or is doing. We're gonna dance, I love it. Really, it's the securities, the understanding, and, you know, utilizing the systems, co-sourcing, not just throwing it at each other.
So you, again, we kind of all talked about this a little bit, and I think Tracey and Nichole both said it. So one of the things that I think we all are experiencing is this kind of push and pull with the payer side, using automation and AI to handle prior authorizations, but then also implementing your own systems to do that. Like, you kind of create this fight, right? The antagonistic sort of AI approach. And so AMA just had their most recent survey, and they said most of the physicians that were surveyed, 61% think that their denials are higher because of AI. So, you know, with that being said, the topic kind of came up, you know, so this is for you, Danielle, back to about from the IT perspective. Have you seen any patterns yet where the AI tools have missed, like, just the context that like a trained human would just pretty much never miss?
Absolutely. Again, I'm going to use the ModMed paxing, you know, until it really learns, which we're a few years away from that, especially if you want to get specific to your individual URL. I'm just using that as an example. Every single day, every fax comes in, it gets better, but there's something missing. There's always something missing. And I can say that for a lot of automation, it's always learning. And again, it will get there, but yeah, you still need that oversight from a human.
So, Nichole, I know you've got a team that helps you with your prior authorizations, but do you have any strategies for those out there that, you know, that you can implement when you find that like the denials have increased and it's obvious that like it's probably like AI-based denials? Like, is there anything that you can help or that you do from the practice to?
Yeah, that's where the people come in. I don't know if you guys got the alert from Cigna or Aetna. I don't know if it's for everyone, where they're like, we're gonna auto downcode your E&M visits. And I was like, oh, that heck you are. But they are, and I spent days and days trying to get a hold of someone at Cigna and Aetna to talk to someone about this. And literally both of them, the person I finally got to, they said, put the administrative burden back on us. Challenge every single one, because then we have to staff people that fixes it, and then it'll start teaching the system to not auto downcode you. So, but I had a staff, and we were gonna repurpose that staff to other positions for a new project, and I was like, well, we have to hold. Now all they're doing is every single one of those, they're validating it got paid. If it got denied, they're challenging it, submitting everything back, and a person on their end has to fight that challenge because AI downcoded, and they're like, it's gonna be about 3 months of this to challenge it. Because it is a big pain in the butt, but it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to put people on it to make them put people on it, for them to be like, maybe we shouldn't train it incorrectly. So it's a pain, it's gonna cost us some, but I think it'll cost us more if we don't fix it. If we allow their AI to tell us what's correct and what's not, then our AI will never learn what to send in the first place to not. Like, I think the AI teams need to talk to each other, and they're not. It needs people on both sides to fix it.
So Tracey, do you think there's still this, I don't want to say misconception, or maybe the way that the messaging is getting across, that, you know, the messaging feels that it's so simple that this will kind of just it'll start working, and not really putting the emphasis on it's only as good as the training that it gets, right? It's only as good as the data that you put in.
Garbage in, garbage out, right.
Yeah, right? Do you think there's still some gray area with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, I think AI, when it first came around, I think people were like, wow, it's gonna solve our problems. We don't have to worry about staff. It's gonna take care of everything. But you're always gonna need that staff to kind of see it through. And I think, as Danielle said, it's gonna take a few years to get there. And I think staff isn't as threatened now as I think they first were when they heard it come.
Right. So just kind of looking at time here, because I'm infamous for also doing this. Is there any questions for you ladies? Just the next kind of topic is more around like just keeping the morale, the human element of your practice. So these are kind of some culture questions, maybe some things that you've experienced in your careers that maybe that can help people, like, as you implement any tool, right? Like, not just specific to AI or doing co-sourcing, but, what are some techniques or strategies that you put in place to, like, help keep the culture intact while you implement these things? And this is for anyone, so whoever wants to go first.
I got one. I think part of it is just keeping them involved in it, and letting the employees understand, like, what happens. Usually if we make the decision to cut a team, we're small enough, usually that person didn't have a future life, so let's be clear, which we try not to. But if they're on a team that's gonna be repurposed, we always have plans. Like, if you think about any of our practices in any industry, there's always more work to do. There's always a new project that we can put them on. So we kind of transition, like, hey, what else? Like, we just recently went through where we staff augmented for surgical scheduling. And it is chaos, and it's very difficult, it's very hard. And our team kind of felt some sort of way, but then it was more like, hey, if you guys can figure it out and not have the docs in your office complaining every single day about their specifics, cool. Otherwise, let's them do it, and let's build out our direct-to-employer healthcare platform and our workers' comp platform. And so they were all like, oh, that makes sense, and they each picked a topic. So I still have the same schedulers, just one of them does the urgent stuff, one of them does phones and reports and follow-ups and changes, one does workers' comp, one does, so they now we've built it out, same team, but I got somebody else handling the easy stuff. We handle the garbage, always. And then they do it. So, like, from an HR perspective, I think the whole team, kind of to their point, is just more like the team tells you when it's like too much person, not enough. We outsourced referrals when our docs needed a cardiology clearance, and they were like, we can do this, and I'm like, cool, you send the referral out, but how often are you calling that office? How often are you calling the patient to make sure they go to their appointment? And then you gotta call and get the notes. Let somebody else do that. And they're like, oh yes, please give that away. So sometimes when you talk them through what you're giving away, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, I can do more of something else. And those conversations have to happen. And sometimes it's like, hey, your job's going away, what else can you do? Here's all the other projects I have, which one do you wanna take? And then they have no problem picking something new.
Right.
But
I'm gonna do something a little impromptu and put somebody on the spot who's going to
no.
hurt me afterwards, but we happen to have the OrthoNY billing manager who stepped in.
I think the most important thing is just keeping the communication open, not leading anybody on, telling them that this is what the process is gonna be now, and this is how we work through it together, and make sure that the co-sourcing is exactly how it worked out for OrthoNY and when we outsourced. And giving the internal staff more autonomy, maybe a little bit, more responsibility of like a liaison position, like, okay, they're doing the meat and potatoes of this process, like authorizations. Let's audit their authorization process, make sure it's right, find out where we can improve their processes. So it gave people more confidence in what they were doing to assist the team.
Right. Maybe we're going off script, but it actually kind of ties nicely into because this one's scripted. We'll talk about this later. But it ties nicely into, again, another kind of point of, those of us that are maybe hesitant to implement some of these things, because even that great advice, you put it back in your mind, like, oh, now I'm having to create another process. Like, it's just hard enough for me to like train the next person in. But what advice would you give to be able to look at this at a big picture instead of like getting lost in the weeds? When you should outsource or co-source or a hybrid model, right? You know you need to go this direction, but you're hesitant. What are some ways to get over those barriers?
So,
Let's
so many of it. So one of the things is before you launch, like whatever partner you have, meet the person who's gonna be your helper. Sales guy's great, saleswoman's great, but you wanna know the person and let them know how needy you are, right? I am probably the most neediest, but a lot of the vendors, they're here and they're like, they're not bad, like Sudeep, am I super bad? Like, he's one of my vendors, right? But I say it right away, like who can I contact as we go through this? The But then once you make the decision, you have to be the champion because it is super quick and easy to be like, it's their fault. So no matter how much you tie your team into it, when there's an issue, they're like, oh, it's that team over there, they messed it up versus, okay, hold. And so a lot of times I have to get, you know, the staff, I'm like, hey, before you throw them under the bus in the message task, and be like, they messed this up, if you look through, your order sucked. Like, it was us.
Yeah.
Like, and now you triggered the doc saying, this vendor sucks, and now I gotta come back and tell them, actually, your MA messed it up. You know, so you kind of have to build in that, like, before you throw them under the bus, let's figure out where the issue is and then go from there. And if you don't have your leadership kind of protecting your vendor, nobody buys in. And you can hold the vendor to the fire when you need to, right? Like, you need that, but just that built-in, like, protector of it, like, I have to tell them, like, hey, someone's upset about this, we're gonna have a conversation, be prepared, right? Like, let's, like, I know we're working through a problem, but I think people forget that protection. They're not the scapegoat for everything. And sometimes I tell my staff, I'm like, let them be the scapegoat, but we know that they're helping. So if a doc's yelling, you can be like, oh, it's that off distance person, but we're gonna protect them, we know it's us, let's figure our protocol. So I always suggest know who your person is, and then just be the protector.
Right. Tracey or Dan, I mean, maybe, because again, another story is, like, I think the protection is a good thing because even from like a vendor standpoint, if it becomes a scapegoat or it allows that, then you're never gonna get the process, or you're never gonna get the impact that you want, and or if it's working really well, sometimes you get another resource that comes in and kind of takes something that's working really well. You have an instance like where that's happened?
Well, I know for ortho, it was the scanning, so we did document management, and in the beginning, we were having everybody kind of taking turns doing scanning, and they hated it. And they're like, you gotta do something with the scanning. So, as we built that with DataMatrix and being able to do that, it was easy for them to say, yeah, it never got tasked to me because they didn't task us. Well, that's because it went into the wrong bucket. It wasn't their fault, it was our fault. So I think just having them know that it's part of a team, it's not them or us, we're all working together for the same purpose.
Right. So anything, my opinion.
No, piggybacking off of, what these two ladies said, it really is that. It's getting your subject matter expert, training trainer, getting a lead, getting a liaison, whatever works best for your department. You know your staff, you know your departments, you know what speaks to them. And I hate to put it this way, but almost empowering them to, they're your assistant. Give them what you don't want. Let them help you. Build that relationship. Have a point person task or whatever, it really starts to grow in them, and you see by Kristen's face, he's like, yeah, we're never getting rid of them. They're ours.
So obviously with this panel beforehand, we wanted to make sure, leave everybody with something as far as like what people want. And I feel like, we felt that the hybrid model equals resilience, right? You can kind of, as things come, you can take it as we go. AI is a support, but not a substitute. Outsourcing or co-sourcing equals scalability, just because I think we were mentioning here, whether it's with us or any other third party, like there's still very viable solutions because they can scale with you how you need to go. Human oversight always equals accuracy, and then compliance and continuity for you, Ms. Danielle, is gonna always equal trust. So those are just some things to consider when when we're looking to implement or there. Anything?
Yeah, and I forgot to say this about that outsourcing thing, just with the size. So our smaller teams, like I've met really big, how big is your guys', how many positions do you guys have?
45 positions.
Yeah, 45, right? So when they have a team of 15 people and one leaves, but when you have a team of 4 and one leaves, like then you usually lose more people. Like it's way more chaos. So having smaller practices, even though we're large, smaller teams, having co-sourced with somebody, like even with billing, so we've added on a, through Boost with ModMed, my team didn't go anywhere, but they can focus on kind of retaining. But now when the 3 people that are up for retirement the next 2 years, I'm not as stressed. Because I'm like, okay, we'll keep going, I wanna replace them, but I'm not going to be left out to dry, because that's only a team of 6 people anyway. So 3 retiring would have absolutely wrecked me. So some of that those pieces, depending on the size of your area or where you're looking for help, smaller staff, it's really tough when you lose one.
Right. And our shameless little plug, because thank you for ModMed letting us be here. Obviously what we offer here. I'm not gonna go through this, but this is essentially what they're all saying. DataMatrix provides a resource to do a lot of these things. Our primary focus, I'd say where we are probably well known and probably the best at is with our prior authorization. But we really have built a solution that can take it from A to Z. So all the way from intake to the administration work there at the front, through pre-charting to prior authorizations, all the way down into the billing. So if you need any help with this, please visit us. But real fast, let's get out of here. Shameless plug. Go to the Q&A. So we've got about 10 minutes here. So this is really just an opportunity to ask these ladies like anything.
I would also, when you're picking a vendor partner.
Oh yeah, this is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. No offense to any vendor partner, but when you're in the conversations, record your calls.
Yeah.
Like I 100% record every one of my vendor calls, and then I make bullets of what they're promising me. And when is my out, like what are my termination clauses? And I have been in situations where I'm like, you can't deliver, so you're either giving me a discount, or we get to term early for cause because here's what you said. And I sent an email right after our sales call that says you're gonna be able to do this, 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 and this. Doesn't normally happen, but it can get you, so when you're scared to start something, probably one of my relationships with DataMatrix, the only reason I jumped in super fast without as much research is they're like, you got a month out. I was like, what? That's unheard of. Like everything else is like 2 or 3 years. Like theirs is like month to month. I'm like, cool, sign me up. Like we'll try this out and see how it works. It literally lasted 2 days for my first doc. And we quickly pivoted to another doc and now we're fine. And that other doc's back on. So like because he saw somebody else do it. So it does, but that flexibility made it super convenient. But I always want to have an out just in case if it sucks. Right? Just in case if we figure it out ourselves. So that's, yeah, so non-vendor side.
That's a good point, though.
Yeah, when you're going out and you're doing your vendor research and your approach and your sell to your team, and your team is, if your team or your executive, like your partners, are your providers, and you have 50 providers that you need buy-in, how do you overcome such obstacles?
Yeah, I'll do it from the small practices. I can't even get 9 to agree. So I don't usually give them the vendor options. I usually present, here's the problem, here's some solutions, and this is how much it's gonna cost me. But I absolutely tie in the turnover rate cost to us, the unemployment, like $1 of labor is $1.30 total cost to our practice, the PTO. So I do a lot of math when I'm presenting changes. It's not just, it's going to cost us $5,000. It's, well, if we bring people in and that person quits, this is how much that turns. So I do a lot of math and I say, these are the solutions I need to do. And then they're like, yeah, figure it out. If I were to have them participate in the vendor selection, I think it would never happen. And I've only got 9. So I don't know how y'all do it with a whole bunch of them.
We just didn't.
Yeah.
I'll just share, so
That's a whole
in total, I
different-
think we have 110 providers, including APPs and probably more with physical therapy and such. So typically for me, it's strength with your stakeholders, right? So the ops department, the compliance, and myself and others are very, very close. Steering committees, highly recommend steering committees to include your providers. For us, we have a very big footprint. So we try to bring one from each of the different specialties, each of the different areas, because we're 45 minutes to an hour away from each other. And find your physician champions. Find the people really having the hard time with whatever solution you're purchasing, and let them help evaluate it. However, do what Nichole does and bring it down to 2 before you offer them 10. So, and quite frankly, honestly, you need that support. You need user champions, which is including provider champions, and I'm sure even at a small practice, you just said it, you get one doc buy-in and it spreads.
Yeah, and I usually say like, I don't even give them 2 vendor options. I usually narrow down the vendor. And like, I've gone through everything with the out, with the cost. I either have this vendor solution or we have this in-house solution. Like these are our 2 options and those are kind of what they need to decide on.
I need to add one piece of that because of AI. just be careful. Every ROI from a lot of these AI vendors, you're gonna cut 6 FTEs.
No, yeah,
You're gonna add 6 FTEs by the time you're done, so
Yeah.
that's just food for thought. I've been through a lot of RFPs of late with newer technologies, and I've been very convincing of that's never really gonna happen.
Thank you, I can be loud, it's
Okay.
okay, I can be loud. So I was just gonna address that because our doctors keep saying, go towards animation, AI, da-da-da-da-da, and then they say to me, how many staff have we cut? And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. So I was just, this feels so good to me to understand like
Yeah.
that you guys are seeing that as well, cause I think they literally think at some
Oh,
point,
they do.
someone
They're
is
told
gonna
that.
walk around and unplug the robots in the morning and plug them back in at night, and that's unlucky.
Which is why I don't let them vet the vendors, because vendors will say, this is how much labor you say. I never say that. I say, currently, this is my labor cost because of turnover. And I bring in like how much it costs to train them and how much I'm paying for PTO. And we're self-funded medical and how much it costs to cover their medical expenses.
Yeah.
That's the only labor number they get. That's it. And so then if we decide to go here, I just better have, and my benefits cost does come down, but my labor doesn't go down because I'm usually gonna use those people to do something else.
you know, depends on your positions, right? Most recently, I had a position go to a leadership meeting out in New Mexico, I don't know, it was a Saturday. Danielle, oh my God, this pediatric company saved all this money, we need DAX. We need DAX right now. Okay, yep, when you get home, we'll talk. And I go as far as getting a demo, and then I explained to him, so you're gonna use the computer and never touch your iPad. He just looks at me. I said, oh, by the way, DAX is being bought out by Microsoft, and really they're turning it into Copilot. Oh, and by the way, and I keep going, and I go way over his head, and he's like, so this isn't gonna work. Same thing with, you know, if they're nerds, get your articles. There's so much information out there. I've done that. I have sent them news clippings, I've sat and had conversations. If they're really pushy, I'll seek out another provider, not even at my practice, and ask them, what was your experience? How many people did you get rid of now that you have one AI tool? You know, and really preach about the different things and try to stay, it's hard, right? Because they are seeing articles. I'm not against AI, I'm in technology.
I love AI.
AI is great. Automation is amazing. It will get there, but it's not there today. So you're right. It's not.
You bring up a really good point, and I think I've learned this from our conversations. A strong referral group is the best thing you can possibly have. Like these events are amazing, but have another smaller group that you're chatting with, text messaging with, whatever. Like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. What's going on? That has been the most powerful tool.
We locally are trying to put together a ModMed users group.
Yeah.
We did this years ago with the previous vendor.
But I just ask the vendor who's trying to sell
Sign
you,
me up.
be like,
Sign me up.
who's like me that I can talk to? If they don't have someone you can talk to,
These events are great
usually
for
they have.
networking.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, you get together once a month for an hour and just, hey, what are you doing about this? Or what tool are you using? Or maybe we need to get together and push back on a vendor or even the EMR of what is important to us in the field. So, sorry.
No, I love that.
Do my own plug.
And that's great feedback, because if we are using a tool that isn't working, we're starting from scratch. Okay, where do we go? Who do we ask? How do we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor girls had a question for like 20 minutes.
Sorry, since I can speak for her.
Danielle's gotta get up.
I do, I can.
We're a very small practice. There's 2 physicians, and ModMed is very expensive, but whatever. We're there. I drank the Kool-Aid.
You admitted that.
I admitted it on record. So obviously, besides DataMatrix and ModMed, these 2 vendors, what other AI tools, if you can speak on name, because I don't know any of the people in the exhibit hall. Like, to be frank, it scares me. So I would love to know kind of what you're already implementing that's successful. Like, do you have AI phone call? Like, and everybody's promising everything, and I'm just overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I use, just personally for you leaders in the room, I use Fixer AI.
Fixer.
Yeah,
It's
which I
amazing.
kind of got
But be
him
careful,
stuck
because
on it.
I've had 2 meetings with Fixer and she wasn't there.
Yeah,
So just-
Fixer will join every, so Fixer, it's FYXER, but it's really for professionals for emails, and what it does is it reads all my emails, and then it'll create drafts for me to respond, and it starts learning, and when it, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And when you first started, like it probably started for him, like someone will ask, what can we do? Can we do something about this? And it's like yes or no, and then it gives you a draft. And first, like if I didn't edit it, my team was like, you didn't write that. Cause it was like, hi. Cause it was like, hi, how was your day? Hope you're doing well. And I was like, so I kept having to delete that. I was like, I don't talk like that. And now it's very, and now it, yeah, so if you do talk like that, yeah, I was like, I don't know who said this, but I do not say how's your day.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Or it's like best, but then it'll join, it knows my calendar, so it'll auto send invites to people about calendars, like, hey, these are when I'm available. It has drafts, it has who to respond to. It lets me know when people are waiting for a response from me. So it's just very, from a leadership perspective, saves a lot of time, and I'm answering quicker, better, more. And then for my meetings, like, it joins, and then some people will accidentally start talking to my AI. And I have two AI joining meetings, because one of them does a better to-do list. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want. But it gives really note recaps. It also preps me for the meetings that come. So there's an AI tool in there. But it took me about a month to train it to be like me, and it's still auditing. It won't ever auto send anything. I have to look through and be like, I like that, I don't. Sometimes it'll respond to emails or create a draft, and I'm like, I would never do that. Right? So it's
still Fixer?
yeah, that's Fixer AI. It's all built in.
When you're talking about practice though.
Right, and then you go, but I
Oh,
still
this is
think,
great.
yeah, I still think for you guys, yeah. For personal, I just think it's a very valuable tool, and it's compliant because it just lives in your email, so it's important.
That's where I was headed.
Right, we do, Assort is our phone systems. They're not here today. We use, Relation. It has a nice self-scheduling platform that we use, that's in there.
And what was that one?
Relation.
Because you use it as well, right?
Well, so we're doing a little bit of a hybrid. I'm always very pushy about my tools. So I really like Clara, and Clara we really wanted for more so it's gonna shock everybody, patient communication.
Yeah, we have Clara too,
Yeah.
but I kept self-scheduling with Relation.
And we have self-scheduling for our injury clinic. We have some operational deficiencies and providers who don't understand things, so we're not able to do self-scheduling across the board until we hit them over their heads a little bit more. But we are being very selective on basically all AI and trying to use natively what ModMed's been able to offer, and then it really is going to be a case-by-case basis. It's something I've noticed in the last couple of years, and I've told my vendors, you're all gonna get rid of phone systems eventually.
Yeah.
Stop and think about that. Your competitor phone systems is going to be that EMR. You are texting, you are faxing, inbound, outbound, you're missing the voice component, but it will come. And really, the sales pitch, especially a small practice like yours, be really pushy with any of the vendors because they're gonna try to sell you the biggest package they have, and phones are all, UCaaS or cloud systems, it's not phone lines anymore.
Right.
You have 90% of what they're selling you already in your EMR. Don't buy into those things.
I also don't use any vendor where I have to log into somebody else's
Right,
system.
you come in mine.
They better put all my notes in ModMed, they better get everything from ModMed and put it back in ModMed. I have access to all their stuff, but I won't, if it's like my team has to function out of another one, we live in it.
Yeah, because
But
you don't want your staff logging in.
they're all about $1 a call. But you gotta be able to put limits, like I picked one that I was like, hey, I don't wanna spend more than this, so as soon as I hit this $1, can you shut it off? Like, if not, I mean, it can go crazy if I'm not prepared from a billing perspective. So there's just a lot of things, you just gotta ask. They all sound great, but they all take a lot of work.
Like Weave is attacking me right now, and I'm just like, we have phones.
We have Weave,
I actually
and,
like Weave too.
yeah, we have Weave, but we don't use any of the features. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I gotta be back. I can really talk about this, and that's what I do. Talk about it forever. However, so I want to thank Nichole, Danielle, and Tracey for doing this. All these questions that come up, and we talked about this, and they said it was okay, but I kind of need to be like a gatekeeper. If you have any questions you want to ask them, we can get you in contact with them. So on the session, it's like I think info@DataMatrix Medical. Just send in your questions there. We got a personal line with them. We'll get it passed over. And then Tracey, actually everyone will be here all weekend, but Tracey's gonna be at the booth. So we want to talk to her too. And I really appreciate you guys.
You'll all see my pink pants running around.
Everywhere.
Where can we get this